Yo, YouTubers, how you doing? You alright? My homies out there, y'all doing okay? Uh, 1, 2, testing the stereo. Hey folks, it's been a while since I've done a speech. I apologise for the last time I did a speech where I was wearing a Mexican hat and things like that. You'd be pleased to know that later that night I actually blacked out in the armchair. I actually drank the whole bottle, guys. I had an Amy Winehouse experience. Don't want to talk about that, but I'm okay, you know. It all goes with part of being mentally ill, I suppose. But yeah, I'm going to do a brief speech here, guys. It's not the moon speech as yet. It's just a little subject I want to, kind of, I don't know, talk about. And the subject is dreaming. Dreaming, right? Now, what's weird? Let's move this lead. What's weird about dreaming and stuff is, like, years ago, when I was a teenager, say from 16, 17 onwards, I always used to keep diaries. And one of the things I used to do in my diaries is write down my dreams. And so I'd have, like what happened that day or whatever, and if I had an amazing dream that night, I'd be like, LND, last night's dream. And then I'd write in detail. I didn't have a dream journal as such, but I used to keep diaries, and as part of the diaries. This microphone isn't actually working, actually. It's these two here, but it just looks cool, doesn't it? Well, anyway, on with the speech. I am recording, aren't I? Yeah. You'll notice in the background here, behind my picture, there's some picture of some what are they called? Just scan down over there. That's it. Lychee what is it? Ganoderma Lucidium Reishi Herbal Supplement Health. They're capsules. You see these little. This is what I recommend for folks if you want to get into lucid dreaming. And these things, they're the capsule form. They're the cheapest form you can buy. You can see the price there. It says £13. That's for 3 packets of 100 capsules in each packet. You'll find them on eBay. Like, that actual seller is called Value for Paid. What is this? Value with the number 4 and paid all in one word. It's up here, like the actual title there, the seller. But there's other people sell them. This particular brand, I've bought them myself loads of times, and I highly recommend them if you're into lucid dreaming. Plus, they've got medicinal qualities. What they call reishi mushroom. It's called reishi mushroom. That's the picture of the mushroom on the thing, on the label. But anyway, back when I was a teenager, and I used to write all my dreams down, right? And one of the craziest things I found out by doing such a thing, I wasn't doing it no one recommended it to me. I hadn't read any books about spiritualism or nothing like that. I just used to write my dreams down in great detail, and I got to the point where I could write it. If I didn't memorize the dream or I didn't write it down that day, the following day, I got to a point where I could actually carry on going to bed for the rest of the week, say 4 or 5 days sometimes. And at the end of that 5 days, sit down and go, how can I remember the first dream I had this week? And I could remember it. It'd come in my head and I could write it down. Then the second dream, the next night, I could remember it. And I could literally use my brain to recall 4 or 5 dreams on the trot and write them all down, it's a kind of brain exercise, where you can train your brain to use parts that were most usually lie dormant in our heads, like. Right. So I got heavily into doing the dream exercise long before I'd read any books about it or that kind of thing. And in one incident, I started in about 1982, my first diary, where I was like writing things down. And it got to the point where in 1984, right, I wasn't using any substances or enhancements back then. I dream better when I'm not. Like say I'll smoke a bit of weed from time to time, things like that. I notice when I get stoned, I don't dream properly. I'll have like brief dreams and that. And when I actually don't do anything, I've not had any tequila or or any weed or anything like that, my dreams start getting more vivid and lucid. And I love dreaming. I dream to the extent that when I wake up, I open my eyes and I realise I'm still back in my bedroom. I always feel disappointed. It's like, oh shit, I'm back at home, like, oh no. So, I can literally write down my dreams graphically, and I can also, a bit like Daniel in the Bible. My middle name's Daniel, and I don't know whether it's got something to do with that. When people christen you and give you a name, because I wasn't named after the biblical Daniel. I was named after my uncle, one of my uncles, whose name was Daniel. Yeah, and it wasn't like for biblical reasons. What people call the kids: Simon, Paul, John, whatever. Jesus. I was called Bruce Daniel Williams, like Bruce because I was a tiny baby. Bruce isn't even in the Bible. The only closest thing to Bruce in the Bible is Baruch, who was the scribe for Jeremiah. Other than that, there's no such thing as a Bruce in the Bible. LRV, double OL, Liverpool FC. So anyway, back to the commentary. Yeah, I think by, when you give a kid a name or whatever, somehow it relates to whoever that name is most commonly attributed to, or attributed to, so maybe things about discerning dreams and working dreams out and stuff like that comes from the name Daniel, maybe, I don't know. No one calls me Danny or Daniel or anything like that. Everyone calls me Bruce or Fat Slob or something like that. Well, anyway, it got to this point where I was writing all these dreams down in not an actual dream journal. You've got to understand that in the handwriting, all mixed up with all these things. To be like, oh man, I was so sad when I used to keep a diary. I'd say had me tea, had chips, beans and fish. Or went to the shops, bought a pair of socks and 2 jumpers. It was really boring stuff. The only other thing I did that was exciting back then was rehearsing in a band or, writing songs and that kind of thing. But my dreams, I could write them down and they'd be dotted around in between these daily functions. Really boring stuff. And what was weird, by chance, there was this dream I had in 1984, right, which I wrote. I won't actually mention the dream itself, but, well, yeah, I will, right. I wrote down in a book in 1984 in one of my diaries, right. Woke up the next morning, it's like last night's dream, LND. Had this weird dream that some guy on the telly was singing like Neil Diamond. Right. I didn't actually write. I had a weird dream that Neil Diamond was singing on the telly, because I was aware of who Neil Diamond was in 1984. I'd watched the jazz singer and stuff like that, and that was sort of in my brain, But wasn't a big fan of his or nothing like that. But this is just one of the weirdest things, that I wrote down this guy was on the telly singing like Neil Diamond, and that diary, got put in me stuff or whatever, like in years, like I used to just fill the thing and then they'd stack up, But what was weird was, right, guys, come 1994, right, 1994, which was 10 years later from 1984, right? Do the math. 1984 plus 10 is 1994. But in 1994, 10 years later, I'm sitting down, and I did still keep diaries and stuff. I'd read the books, yeah, and since then I'd got into reading, Don Juan, the books by Carlos Castaneda. That's the only kind of experience I've got of actually analysing my dreams for real and starting to acknowledge that because I read in them books that Don Juan, that the Mexican Indian guy, he says dreams are actually real. People don't realise that. People don't get it, that when they dream of something, they're seeing something that's actually either gonna happen or may have happened, or you could be seeing cross wires of someone else, what I call remote viewing. You could be in a dream, you could be like, it's like I say, I'm not into the Beatles, right? But I could have a dream I'm like, oh, I can't wait to buy this Beatles album, and in the dream I buy a Beatles album and play it. Because you have these dreams where you buy things and you're really enthusiastic, and you wake up the next day and you're thinking, I'm not into the Beatles, why would I be bothered about that? But your wires are crossed with maybe someone who spies on you, maybe someone who watches you all the time. You've got the right to spy on them in reverse. It's like a telephone line, If someone phones you, you're allowed to talk back, aren't you, basically? Well, in our brains and built into our eyes and all the rest of it, these like transmitters, that we can naturally transmit energy waves from one another. And that's the way I see it. It's a common law. If people spy on you, you're allowed to spy back, basically, because you could be seeing all kinds of intimate things through people, and they don't want you to, but they've been spying on you all your life, maybe, or you're like a controlling mother or a controlling wife or controlling husband in some cases, to some women, like. But what was weird is I started seeing in these books, these Don Juan books, and I wouldn't recommend it. It's not for everyone. It's not the kind of thing that everyday people should get into. But I did. I absorbed all them books. I read all of them, all the Carlos Castaneda books. And I was particularly interested. You might have seen a song on my channel called The Art of Dreaming. Right, folks? Bit of influence from that as well. Bit of Pink Floyd, bit of myself. Don Juan goes on about the art of dreaming, where it becomes like an art form, where you master it, where you can control what you're doing and what you're seeing and things like that. And I've got into that, I've tried it out and all that, but I like things to be random and you don't know what's going on, basically. They're my favourite dreams, where But what was really strange was, I'm not sure if I'd actually read the books. I might have. It might have been a little bit later. But what I found was really fascinating is I'm sitting down watching the TV in my living room in 1994, right, folks? And my diaries were all buried in my bedroom somewhere in all my junk and that, like. And the telly comes on, and there's this programme comes on the telly, which I'd never seen before, called Stars in Their Eyes. I mean, if you want to check it out, folks, if you're in America, you might not have seen it, you might not have heard of it. If you're in Canada or Australia, you might not know about Stars in Their Eyes, but I used to love it because it was people dressing up and singing like, famous people. It was just, it's really sort of naff but funny, I used to like watching it, like. But the first time it came on the telly, right, folks, or the first time I actually saw it, like, 1994, I'm sitting on the sofa watching it in the living room. Next thing, he's like, this woman's gonna be Shirley Bassey, or whatever it was, yeah. And then this dude comes on and says, And you know, Matthew Kelly used to host the programme. He says, "And who are you going to be for us today?" And the guy goes, "Well, tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Neil Diamond." Right. So he goes, he comes on the stage, and he's not really Neil Diamond, right? Remember, bearing in mind what I said about this dream earlier on, right? This guy walks on the stage, dressed like Neil Diamond with this silly wig made to look like Neil Diamond, and he's singing one of Neil Diamond's songs. I can't remember what the song was. You're like, "Love on the Rocks ain't no surprise." You know, he's actually singing like Neil Diamond. He sounded quite good. You know, he was like an impersonator, if you will, yeah. And I'm sitting there like watching this program dead casual, and I'm thinking, wow. I was laughing my head off, really, you know, the way they did the programme because of the style of the programme, like. And by the way, I've done my advert, haven't I, guys? Recommend these reishi mushroom capsules, yeah? Check them out if you're into lucid dreaming, but they've got medicinal benefits as well. Where's the screen? Over my shoulder. These reishi mushroom capsules are really good, and they're medicinal. They even kill tumours, apparently. But great for lucid dreaming. Anyway, I'll get rid of that because there's a lovely photo. So you've seen the advert there. I'm not getting paid by these folks to say that, by the way. So I'll just close this. Of course, I want to close all. Right, and you can see that lovely. I'm just doing an advert here for a wonderful photograph I took of the summit of Snowdon. Let's just get me out of the way for a second. Sorry, folks, about like. Oh, that's it. Look at that for the picture, folks. Just put this up here. Actually, go like that, above Snowdon. Oh yeah, just for a backdrop, eh? Isn't that beautiful? Well, anyone wants to buy this photograph, folks, I'm prepared to sell it if, you know, anyone's interested. It's on my screen and me, what's it called, desktop thing at the moment, but I took that picture myself last year, and it's nice and symmetrical. It's well, Bruce takes photographs using Fuji. Does anyone out there want to pay me a sponsorship deal, like? But yeah, let's get back to the nitty gritty. I'll go up here instead of being down there, so you can just look what the photograph's amazing, isn't it? Well, anyway, where was I? Yeah, I'm sitting there. Anyway, sorry folks, sorry about that. I'm sitting there watching this programme called Stars in the Rise for the first time in my entire life, yeah. And then I went, wow. You know when you get them deja vus where you know that you dreamt what you're seeing? Do you get me? I'm actually sitting in the chair and I'm like, it's a guy singing on the telly just like Neil Diamond. And it's not Neil Diamond. I'm sure I had a dream back in 1984 about this. So I legged it upstairs into my bedroom and dug out my 1984 diary, which doesn't exist anymore, by the way, guys. I'm not like sort of trying to, you know, I got rid of all my junk and stuff years ago, you know. Well, anyway, I finds this diary, 1984, and I was just whizzing through the pages thinking, oh, if I can find that actual page, because it was only like a little snippet, remember, like I'd have the whole day's activity written down, but I'd have in a little tiny little words like last night's dream, this dude was singing like Neil Diamond on the telly, and I found it, right. found it like in the diary, and I went back downstairs. I rushed downstairs. It was still on. The guy was still singing like Neil Diamond. And then I looked in the diary, and I said, there it is, last night's dream. Some dude was singing like Neil Diamond. And then I went, what date was that? Free complete curiosity. Looked at the date. It was the actual date. And I'm not exaggerating, guys, I'm not just saying this, It was the actual date. I don't know the date now, what it was, off my memory kind of thing. It was the actual day to the 10 years to the day. Right. So in 1994, I was sitting down watching the TV, seeing this dude singing like Neil Diamond. But 10 years earlier, back in 1984, I'd seen it in my dream. Now, I think that's fascinating, right? But there was a guy, there was a band called 10 Years After a while back, wasn't there? Who, what was his name? Albert Lee or Alvin Lee? Albert Lee, one of the old blues guitar players from years ago, from the 60s and the 70s. And they used to be called 10 Years After. And I think they are probably onto that. That it was unmistakable. I had actually dreamed 10 years ahead to the day, which I think is fascinating. Like, I still write my dreams down, guys. I've got books full of them, like what we call dream journals now, because as I got older, I read those Don Juan books. And the guy said, the Mexican Indian recommended that you write your dreams down, because, well, you find out, don't you, that it's 10 years later or something, and maybe it's different for other people, and maybe, I don't know, maybe I didn't really do much drugs when I was younger. I used to dream quite a lot, guys, you get me? Like, I was kind of like, I used to drink a bit, like, as you're probably well aware of by now, after the Amy Winehouse experience the other week, like, but yeah, I think it's a really interesting thing, like, I just wondering if anyone else out there has had a similar experience where you've dreamed it exactly as it is and you write it down or something, and sure enough, 10 years later. So, the positive aspect of that, guys, is if you're still dreaming, like I'm still dreaming now. I dream all the time, like, I have amazing dreams. But some people say they don't dream, don't they? Some people say, I can't have any dreams. I hardly see anything in dreams. I don't really. Maybe that's like the fate, where it's telling them like, oh, your time is short, mate. But I know if we're still dreaming, obviously we would say, if I had a dream last night, I had a dream the night before. Didn't write them down. Sometimes I don't write them down and challenge my brain to remember them. It's a good brain exercise, right, folks? Because you're using your pineal gland when you dream. So anyway, I challenge my brain to see if I can write a whole week's worth of dreams down sometimes, and I usually pull it off. I usually actually achieve it. Like, most people can't even remember what they did the day before. But anyway, I thought that was a little interesting speech. I'm working my way towards the moon speech. Don't forget the advert I put up earlier, Reishi Mushroom. I highly recommend it, folks, if you're into lucid dreaming and that kind of thing. Plus, it's got medicinal benefits. Them capsules, they're quite cheap. I think they were like £13 for free capsules, or £18, I'm not sure. Very cheap. Every time I've ordered them, I get them from Thailand normally, and they always arrive. Like, yeah. Any feedback? Anyone interested to hear that, we do actually see reality in our dreams? I mean, 10 years ahead. That's quite trippy, I think, quite far out. But yeah, I'll wrap it up there. By the way, this photo of Snowden, if anyone wants to purchase it, I've got another one actually, which is more like, it's like sort of cut off, it's a vertical picture, it's like up, like a big oblong, and there's a raven there just above there's a raven there just above it, like I captured the raven just above the summit, like, what's, like that. cut off there kind of thing. But this one's the full stereophonic, the stairwell, like, and the actual summit. And in case anyone's never been to Snowdon, that's what the summit actually looks like. It's quite trippy. Highest point in England and Wales, folks. Yeah, anyway, any feedback? Tell me what you think about 10 years after Dreams, or I don't know, you don't really have to reply. The only reason I ask people to put comments is so I know that you're actually watching things and that, and that, you know, you're out there, like, that's all. No, you don't have to, like, you know what I mean. You don't you don't have to do anything really. But anyway, folks, yeah, I'll be getting onto some serious stuff. My moon speech, what I'm going to have to do is, I think I'm just going to record it traditionally with me video camera, right? And then put all the photographs and the details in afterwards, because I've got some far out stuff to say there. Hopefully, if I can get on with it. Swastika bases on the far side of the moon and all that, like. But yeah, oh well, that's my speech about dreaming being actually real. Does Debbie Harry sing that song, Dreaming is Real? Dreaming is real. It's a piece of artwork there in the background, you might see. It's not for sale. It's one of me, you know, the picture you use on my channel above me, you know, the actual channel page, and you see this close-up of a picture of a, I don't know if I can reach it. I'll give you guys have a look at it, close-up, before I get off. I don't know. Come here, picture. One of my works of art. See what you think of that, folks. Hey, bit of Celtic, Gaelic knotwork. I don't know. I don't use the word Celt. I don't wear a kilt, you see, so I'm not Celtic. You know, Celtic. Yeah. In case anyone's wondering what that picture is on me opening page. Fall over. But yeah, folks, thanks for watching. I will be posting some more speeches soon. Any of you who've been checking out me demo uploads lately, I hope you're enjoying the tunes and that. I will be opening a channel of some kind to sell stuff. I want to sell photographs, artwork, and music, hopefully. I don't know. Alright, folks, thanks for watching. Please comment, or just give me a thumbs up. Say, like, it's good, that Bruce. Thanks for watching.